What's up, everybody? This is Ed Freeman.
It's your boy Jeff Fox in the box.
We are the Sports Brothers.
And we're chilling at the spot.
Right here on SoFloRadio.com.
At SoFloRadio.com.
We do big things.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
What's up, everybody? It is Freeman and Fox. We are live on SoFloRadio.com. The Sports Bros, which check us out on Twitter at The Sports Bros. And, of course, website is thesportsbros.com. E.W. Freeman.
Jeff Fox in the box. I was about to flow, but you trying to mess the groove up, man. What's up with that?
We don't need to hear any of that conch flow right now. We try to get a show
lyrics,
off, man.
I got lyrics.
Oh yeah, you got lyrics. Keep them where they are in that book under your mattress in your bedroom. What is going on, man? It is a nice, beautiful Sunday in South Florida, and we're here for the first time on SoFloRadio.com.
Yeah, we have invaded the building. We're holding Jack Frost hostage.
Yes.
Tied him up in the back room. We'll let him go in a little while.
Yeah, we'll let him go in a little while, but we're going to be holding things down here for a minute. Get in some talk about what's going on in the NBA, as well as other big sports news. First, we just so happen to be coming in to do this show today on a day where we get some breaking news from the NBA, with the NBA suspending Draymond Green of the Golden State Warriors for one game because of a foul that they upgraded to a flagrant foul between him and LeBron James. Now, I'll admit, I didn't see the game live Friday, but I was searching and waiting all day on Saturday for the replay, and I did catch it around 4:30. Can you imagine that? Almost, 12 hours or more after the original game. More than that, 12 hours. I caught it on NBA TV, man, and what a game. What a game. What an atmosphere there in the Quicken Loans Arena. But this NBA Finals, I think, for the most part, Fox, I think a lot of people think it's a wrap.
Yeah, stick a fork in the Cavs. They're done. Very disappointing for Cleveland in these finals. Let me start with the breaking news, though, the suspension of Draymond Green. I think it is so deserved that he was suspended. I'm glad the NBA did that. I think it's probably a slight favor for the Cavaliers to have Green suspended. But I think this dude has embraced that villain role so much that even I don't like him. I don't like him. And
I love Draymond Green. He's a total likable person.
No, he disgusts me. He's one of those guys that, to me, that you will hate unless the only way you like him is if he's on your team. He's the latest version of Dennis Rodman. Aggravating.
Well, I think he smiles a lot better, looks a lot better, more aesthetically pleasing to the eye, to me.
More offensively refined
than Dennis Rodman. But as usual, folks, you guys haven't heard us on the air in a long time, but nothing much has changed. I don't agree. I heard some folks on the radio earlier this weekend, or today, talking about he should be suspended. And as I watched the replay of the call in question, where LeBron James openly opened his crotch and put it all over Draymond Green's face, leaving it open to be hit. I see that his getting up and him, his right hand moving up into the crotch of LeBron James as totally accidental and with the flow of his movement. I know you're looking at it right now. There is no reason for a suspension, in my opinion.
You got to be kidding me.
No, I'm not.
You got to be kidding me.
Absolutely not.
This is the same guy that went up in, who was it? Was it the OKC? Yeah, Steven Adams. Steven Adams. He kind of got himself familiar with the groin area of Steven Adams as well.
Well, the point is, if they suspended him for a culmination of events, that event that they're using as now we have to look at you, shouldn't be the one, in my opinion. If you're going to suspend him after the Steven Adams incident, then suspend him after the Steven Adams incident. As a matter of fact, J.A. Donde wrote something about that. I'll get to that in a minute. But I see that, in my opinion, his getting up after LeBron walked over him, did the Allen Iverson over him, and he is getting up, his head is down, and his hand is getting up with the rest of his body. That shouldn't be why you
I admit it was disrespectful of LeBron to walk over him like that. It's disrespectful, but we don't know what was going on prior to that play, because as I told you guys,
doesn't matter.
Draymond Green is an agitator. He talks a lot of trash. He's an agitator. LeBron was probably aggravated, and as you saw those two wrestling with each other, and then he fell to the ground. LeBron walked over him. Okay, so that was like throwing the first punch. Regardless, Draymond Green has a history now of going after the man area with guys, and that's a no-no. But that's a major no-no.
But yes, it's a major no-no. But my point is, in this instant where his hand accidentally, to me, went up in the man area of LeBron James, shouldn't be the incident that you use to then say, okay, he deserves a flagrant. Make it another incident. Maybe he pushed somebody, a LeBron, earlier in the game or later in the game. But that incident, if you circle that walk over, I'm getting up, this guy is still over me, and my hand accidentally hits his man area, that to me shouldn't be the incident that they use to say, all right, you got to be suspended.
Well, I'm glad he's suspended. The impact of that now on Game 5 as they go back to Oracle and Golden State tries to seal the deal. How much will they miss Draymond Green?
I tweeted earlier today at the Sports Bros, Golden State wins by 40. I tweeted that Golden State because I think that the Splash Brothers, who we really haven't seen come alive yet in this finals, maybe a little bit of what in the game,
Game 4, man.
In Game 4,
they were the difference.
But yeah, they were. But it's different when they come alive at home and when they come alive on the road. Or I should flip that. When they come alive on the road and when they come alive at home. And I just feel like this instance, this suspension, as the players are already talking, Klay Thompson, who's usually quiet and reserved and doesn't really say much, he says that, I thought this was a man's league. I don't know why people are getting so sensitive right now. He's definitely talking about LeBron James. I think that this motivates the team. Draymond won't be allowed in the arena. I believe they are working something out or saying, trying to schedule something out that if they win, he will be allowed to come into the stadium.
Golden State Warriors, especially when Mark Jackson was there. I didn't like how Steve Kerr came into that situation. But I enjoyed what they did the last 4 or 5 years, from when Jackson was saying this is the greatest shooting backcourt in the history of the NBA. I fell in love with those guys when they battled the Spurs and they were on their way up. But now that they've gotten there, I see a lot of cockiness. I don't like how Steph Curry walks around the court with that mouthpiece, with that aw shucks attitude, like, I just drained the 3-pointer. It's no big deal. It's what I do in my sleep. They're so cocky now.
So what's the difference with him doing it when they were, a bottom feeder in the West, or they were just coming up, versus now that they're winning?
I'm about to explain what that is. It comes with the swag, comes with winning, because I was a Laker fan, still a Laker fan, but back in the Shaq and Kobe days, everybody hated us because we were beat everybody. Now I'm hating Golden State because they beat everybody, but they're still a likable team, E-Dub. There's just a little arrogance to them, I feel. And I guess that does come when you win so much. They win 73 times.
What's funny, and you hearing you say this, is you just mentioned it. You're a Laker fan, and I get it. That's just the way that I guess the world and society is for some unknown reason. That we love winners, but we want our winners to be respectable and lovable. And in the minute that they cross that line of disrespect or throwing it up in your face, that's when a certain segment of society won't like that winner. But hearing you say this, and your favorite college team is the who? Football team? Yeah, right. The University of Miami. And speaking of, we may hear some more crap coming from people's mouths because of what happened with the University of Miami and the baseball team today. I'll get into that later, of a supposed bat flip that sent the benches clearing at the game. But so what? I mean, let Steph be Steph. He was chewing the mouthpiece and acting like a kid when they was a 50-win and 60-win team. What's the big deal? That they have a ring and a trophy and on the verge of getting another one?
Maybe it's personal. I don't know. Maybe it's the sympathy that I'm feeling right now for LeBron James that's brought out a little dislike for the Warriors, because I feel bad for LeBron. And I'll tell you this. I did a Periscope at thesportsbros.com yesterday. I was the only one. Myself and a guy out of Orlando named Mike Dixon. Nobody else. Everybody else. A lot of females. RGG Fontaine from the Sports Bros went in on LeBron. Nobody feels sorry. Nobody in South Florida.
Why should anybody in South Florida feel sorry? And I'm tired of this national narrative that gets out there. As we can talk about LeBron and what what his legacy will be as he'll go to 2-5, I believe, after tomorrow night, Monday night at the game.
Not good, man.
I'm tired of the national narrative of it's Cleveland and they need to win a chance. They don't need to win. They don't need anything. They want to, and they need to do what they have to do to get to that position. The Browns, the Indians, and the Cavaliers, it doesn't matter. But this whole national narrative of feeling sorry for this sports town who's always been on the brink of winning and then end up losing, whatever. I have no care about that whatsoever.
And it all came full circle at the end of Game 4 as LeBron got into it with Draymond Green, and then during the timeout, he got into it with Steph Curry, and it looks like all of his frustrations is just boiling over. I was waiting on him to break into tears. I'll take the ball and go home.
Absolutely.
That's what we did as kids when you got frustrated. Man, it's my ball. Give me my ball. I'm going home.
Yeah, he's going home. I mean, you see it with him and Draymond going back and forth. And I get it. There are some other things that happen in the game, whether it's him calling you a name or him tugging at you or whatever. But I specifically saw what he was doing to Steph Curry, and that's the mindset. That's what they wanted to do, to go out there and try to disturb Curry and get him off of his rhythm, so he couldn't make shots, so he couldn't make his cuts, so he couldn't get around the court to get an open shot. Okay, cool. But the LeBron James that I saw after Game 4 with the Draymond stuff and with the Curry stuff, I was very surprised at that, because usually you don't see that.
He was coming apart, E-Dub, because a lot of this was the desire to fulfill a promise to the city of Cleveland for all the heartbreak they had to endure. The Jose Mesa against the Marlins in the bottom of the ninth, when they blew the save and lost the World Series in heartbreaking fashion, to the drive, to the fumble, to the shot, to the decision. I mean, it just goes on and on and on. Then LeBron gets a hero's welcome, comes back to Cleveland, says it won't be easy, but I came here to bring you guys a championship. And for the last 2 years, he's gotten there and then gotten punched in the mouth by Steph Curry. How do you not get frustrated?
Oh, you can get frustrated, but I mean,
and who can he blame? Nobody. It's all on him. It's all on him because he got rid of Andrew Wiggins and brought in Kevin Love. Imagine this team with Kyrie Irving, LeBron James, and Andrew Wiggins.
I got nothing for you there. I mean, I know
Andrew Wiggins is a baller.
Yeah, he's a baller, but I can't even imagine.
Well, I tell you this, Andrew Wiggins would have been a better fit with this Cleveland team because of the way the NBA is now. And if you look at the length and the athleticism that Golden State throws at Cleveland with, what's the name of that tall boy? Livingston coming off the bench, taller than everybody. And then they come in with Iguodala, and then they come in with the spirit of the Brazilian Blur, Barbosa. LeBron's problem is the Cavs are not well put together. They're not that good compared to the West.
I believe so. I do believe that, because I feel like what he has there as a team,
they can win the East.
He's tried to force. He tries to force to say that, okay, it's good enough, to win the East. It's good enough to get to the NBA. It may be good enough to win a game or two in the NBA Finals, but that's it.
All he's got is Kyrie Irving.
Come on, Iman Shumpert, J.R. Smith.
Can't throw it in the ocean.
Everybody's they're going to have a game where they get off, and they had that game in Game 3.
Yeah,
and they tried it again in Game 4, and it didn't happen. You listen to the Sports Bros right here on SoFloRadio.com. Let me ask you this: a lot of talk has been about LeBron, and you mentioned the frustrations and all this stuff. You see what is happening with Steph Curry now, and you could say it's the age of Steph Curry and the Golden State Warriors. You could say that obviously with him winning the MVP last year, coming apart.
That's a part of it.
I'm not thinking that he's thinking, okay, oh darn, this dude got the unanimous MVP. That's something that I should have got, et cetera, et cetera. But you just put all of those pieces together. You throw all that stuff in the soup, and you end up with what you saw at the end of Game 4, which is a frustrated LeBron. Come on, Draymond Green is not the first person to call you the B word on the court. Seriously. I mean, I guess I would guess that those guys keep it respectful. It's not football or anything like that, but he can't be the first person to call you that on the court.
Nah, but you hit it on the head when you mentioned the rivalry with Steph Curry, because now, as I said on Shadow League Radio last week, LeBron now has a rival. You remember we've been for so many years, guys. We wanted Kobe versus LeBron. We dreamed of an NBA Finals of Kobe versus LeBron for years, and it never happened. It never happened. And now finally, LeBron James, widely regarded as the chosen one, as the king, as the savior, as unequivocally the best player in the NBA, which I still think he is. But now there's another guy that other folks are saying, well, maybe LeBron isn't the best. Maybe it's this guy who looks like he should be, working at UPS or something. Just an ordinary-looking guy. And he's the best player in the NBA compared to 6'8", 250 LeBron? I'm not buying it, but there are some folks out there who are. And then this guy wins
flavor of the moment,
unanimous MVP. People are talking about Steph as being the best, and he's got hardware now. And they'll probably be favored to win it next year.
You're an old school guy. You love the old school way of basketball and football and sports. LeBron is reacting to this. How do you say he's reacting? How do you feel like he's reacting to this? The comments about, well, what most valuable player really means. It means something different. It doesn't necessarily mean he's the best player, but it's the best player on a certain team, or it's the most valuable. The definition of value and all that stuff. That talk. Did you see a lot of that or hear a lot of that? Maybe in different sports. I think maybe in football that mentality is there, but in basketball, Bird, probably Jordan and those Detroit Pistons, probably, there may have been some talk like that. But then again, that was a different world. It wasn't a social media world. It wasn't a 24-hour news cycle. The way that he's gone about this and kind of almost shown a kind of attitude, it should be.
He's not
attitude.
the real MVP, is
right.
what LeBron is saying. And he's partially right. I think a lot of people, he's right because, if you take Steph Curry off of the Warriors, granted, sure they don't win all those games, but they're still a pretty good team. They still make the playoffs. I could take LeBron James right now, and put him on any team in the Eastern Conference, and I guarantee they get at least, at the very least, to the Eastern Conference Finals. Any team in the Eastern Conference. Okay. Can you put Steph Curry on any team in the Eastern Conference and do the same thing? I don't think so.
Why would you switch conferences?
Or
keep putting him on the West.
Let's put him on any team in the West. Any team.
I think an OKC and I think a Spurs team would definitely get there with him. You said any team.
But I can put. I'm not just talking about the top teams.
On any team.
You can put LeBron on any team in the Eastern Conference. Yes, you can.
No, you can't. Philadelphia.
Yes. LeBron James can take the Sixers to the Eastern Conference Finals.
This isn't 2007, dude.
LeBron James can take, if he could take that 2007 Cavs.
That just said this is not 2007.
Yeah, but he's done it before.
Once.
Take him off of that.
He did it once.
That's all you got to do it once is to do it once.
You can't do it again.
If you do it once, you've done it.
If you want to say he did it again, and I can't even give you that argument for last year's Cavs team because you had Kyrie and you had Kevin Love for most of the year. Definitely can't say it for this year because you had the same
left Miami and instantly took a horrible Cavaliers team. I mean, you just made my point for me. He went back to a horrible Cleveland team because they were horrible the year before he got there. The minute he gets there, they are in the NBA Finals. You can put him in Milwaukee, Philadelphia, Charlotte, anywhere in the Eastern Conference, and that team is going to the NBA Finals. Or at the very least, the Eastern Conference Finals. He's the only player in basketball you can do that with. He's the only one.
Maybe.
He's the only one. That's why he should. Technically, LeBron could have been the MVP the last 4 or 5 years. But that would make the league boring.
Right. And who are you? What I was about to get to is who are you to change the definition all of a sudden
of what an
MVP is, right? Because you didn't win it. Your fifth would have been his fifth one, and you didn't win it 2 years in a row now. I mean, that's what I'm saying. The attitude, if you want to call it sulkiness or whatever, sulky attitude that he has going on now. Was that prevalent? Did you see or hear that a lot back in the day? And probably, I would guess not, because like I said, of this different coverage and everything that's going on right now.
And think about this. Kobe Bryant has one MVP. Shaquille O'Neal has one MVP. Think about that for a minute. How crazy that sounds. Shaq has one MVP. Kobe has one. Steve Nash has two.
That's the craziest one out of all of them to me.
So I understand LeBron's complaint. You know what what do you guys really mean by MVP? Like, what is the MVP? I'd like a little clarification myself, because Steph Curry up until Game 4 didn't do a whole lot. He was only averaging 16 points a game in the NBA Finals.
If you saw, I did tweet this question out. I think it was earlier today. I did say, when the Golden State Warriors win tomorrow night, Monday night, who's the Finals MVP?
I think if one of the Splash Brothers show up again, as they did in Game 4, because that was just a monster performance by both of them, you could probably give it to one of them. Draymond was my MVP of the first two games, but he's disappeared since then. I could see Curry getting it again, and boy, if he gets unanimous MVP and an MVP in the NBA Finals, it just adds a little more, to that argument that he is the man right now in the NBA.
You're listening to Freeman and Fox here on SoFloRadio.com. Yes, we are still here, y'all, still around doing our thing. Make sure to follow us on Twitter at The Sports Bros, and check out the website too at www.thesportsbros.com.
Also, look out for the radio network coming soon. Sports Brothers Radio Network. That's right, it's coming to you real soon on the internet. And just follow us on Twitter. We'll give you all the details on that.
So let's fast forward to Tuesday morning. Cavs have lost. They're back in Cleveland. They do their whole exit interviews. You've got the NBA draft coming up. You've got the summer league and all that stuff coming up. Got the is it Olympics or the USA team? Yeah, the USA team USA. Yeah, Olympics. This is 2016 in Rio.
They're
right?
Dropping like flies.
Yeah. What do you see in Cleveland's future? Do you blow it up and start all over?
No.
Do you just get rid of a piece here, a piece there? Does Kyrie Irving not demand, out of there? What happens with Cleveland?
Now, Kyrie Irving has proven himself to me. I thought he disappeared the first couple of games, but he's balled out of control in Game 3 and Game 4. I thought he really showed a lot. The guy I get rid of is Kevin Love. He just doesn't fit. Not that he's such a horrible player, but he just doesn't fit there in Cleveland. They need more offense. You'd have to reload that bench. Shumpert gives you nothing. J.R. Smith is too erratic. He's either hot or he's cold. You had 65-year-old Richard Jefferson come off the bench and at least give you something. He's the one other guy that's been productive, along with Tristan Thompson, who can't shoot free throws and is limited offensively. To beat a team in the West in the NBA Finals, LeBron needs guys that can score. The worst move he made was getting rid of Andrew Wiggins. Andrew Wiggins would have been thriving on this Cavs team. And as you saw, the best playoff series that we've seen so far has been OKC and Golden State. Why? Because
Golden State came back from 3-1.
Right? And OKC can match Golden State when it comes to firepower. The problem with the Eastern Conference teams, when they battle these teams in the NBA Finals, outside of the Miami Heat being able to do it a couple of times, nobody else has the offense. I mean, that's the problem with Cleveland. They went scoreless for about 6 minutes in Game 4. And if you don't have firepower, you got to be able to score. That's how OKC was able to jump on top of Golden State. Durant was giving you 30. Westbrook was giving you 30. And then you had Ibaka. Then you had Adams. Then you had Roberson or whatever his name is. I mean, then you had Reggie Jack. Not Reggie.
Dion.
The other kid. Dion Waiters. Thank you. Dion Waiters. But they had guys just giving them points. You need points. And LeBron is more magic than Michael, so he needs guys that can fill it up. Guys that when he does give them the ball and give them the ball in scoring position, that they can score and not miss wide open shots. LeBron should be averaging about 16 assists a game. But here's what happened, E-Dub. GM LeBron has failed LeBron the player. This team is not constructed properly to win a championship. GM LeBron has failed LeBron, the player. He needs to get a guy in there and let them do what they do. let
the GM do his job.
Let the GM do his job.
Yeah.
Let Tyronn Lue, or whatever his name is, do his job as coach. And all you worry about LeBron is playing basketball. That was one of the reasons he left Miami. He wanted more control. He doesn't need more control. As he's proven us time and time again, he's not a great GM. He's not a great coach. He's a great player, but it takes more than that to win a championship.
It'll be interesting to see, if LeBron James does currently right now sit at, to me it's not if, it's a win. Sitting at 2-4, tied with Wilt Chamberlain, Mel Counts, and Danny Ainge as NBA players who have the most losses in an NBA championship. After them comes Magic Johnson at 5-4, and Kareem, who went 6-4. LeBron looking to go 2-5. He's very far, of course, from a Larry Faust, Max Zaslofsky, Rudy LaRusso.
Who are those guys?
Yeah, these are back in the 60s and the 40s. And definitely he's far from Elgin Baylor. I mean, and Jerry West obviously got that one.
Jerry West is 1-9, right?
Out of that 1-8, yeah, 1-8 out of those 9 trips that he took.
Speaking of, Jerry West came out I think it was last week, and defended LeBron to the media, saying that you guys need to get off of his back because this guy does everything, and he's such a great competitor and a great player, and this and this and this and this. But he's not winning championships. He's not racking up championships. The 2 championships he does have, which I believe he does, just might be the only ones he ends up with. Unless something drastically changes in Cleveland, because the Splash Brothers are going to be around for a while. And he's going to have to overcome them or OKC or San Antonio or somebody to get another ring for that city of Cleveland. Man, they're snake bitten.
There definitely is. I said earlier I wanted to read what J.A. Adonde had written in response to Draymond Green. Draymond Green obviously out for a Monday night's Game 5. He writes, in retrospect, the Warriors would have been better off if the NBA had suspended Draymond Green for Game 4 of the Western Conference Finals for kicking the Thunder Steve Adams in the groin during Game 3. The league gave Green a flagrant 2 foul as a warning instead, and Green played in a game the Warriors had lost anyway. But the flagrant 2 brought Green to the brink of suspension, which came into play when he was retroactively assessed a flagrant 1 foul for hitting LeBron James in the groin during Game 4 of the NBA Finals. Now Green is out, of course, for Monday night's game in where the Warriors can clinch the championship in Game 5. I'm not going to say they're not going to miss the guy, because they definitely will miss the guy. My thought to where Cleveland won't win this game is because, obviously the Oracle. It's the place that I think the Warriors have lost, 3 times or 4 times all year long.
Yeah.
B, your backs are against the wall because one game and you're done. But if you're Golden State, you're smelling the blood in the water.
Mm-hmm.
You're like, okay, I'm at home. I'm up 3-1. And
you get to celebrate in front of your fans.
Celebrate in front of my fans, and I don't have to get on a plane and go back to the land. Oh, it's on. Oh, and then, wow, you just kicked out the heart and soul of our team. Motivation.
How about the Cavaliers fan getting at, was it Steph's wife on Twitter? And then the fan got, I think he lost his job. Somebody in Cleveland called that Steph's
Cavaliers fan or Cavaliers employee?
Cavaliers fan. It was quite derogatory from what I understand, the way he got at her, and lost employment over it.
Well,
so it's crazy.
Twitter and social media is where people can go to be tough guys.
Steph's wife, she will clap back at you.
Oh yeah,
she will clap back. She don't play on Twitter.
Yeah, she absolutely doesn't, and she's great at that. So a lot of things to look forward to, man. I mean, obviously on the Cavaliers side, what happens if you do end up losing this game on Monday, which I believe they will, and what do you do next in terms of retooling this game? And it's early to look at that, but it is something that's going to be leave another bad taste, obviously, in the mouth of LeBron James and the whole team, because everybody who went to the finals last year, and then you come back and you see this team again, and you're healthy for the most part. Kevin Love did have an episode, obviously, where he missed Game 3, and that was the game that they ended up winning. But Kevin Love is back. You have a new coach, and I think if anything taught me about these last 2 years of coaching, or these last 2 years have taught me anything about coaching in the NBA, is that when you have the player as dominant as LeBron James and a relatively good team, I'm not going to say coaching doesn't matter, but there's just the amount of coaching, or the percentage, I should say, you can attest to coaching goes down, especially when you lose a David Blatt who was 30-11. You put in a Tyronn Lue and you're still in the NBA Finals.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it didn't really make that much of a difference. Lue obviously tinkered a few things in the offense, and they became more prolific scoring wise, but not a whole lot. Especially if the Cavs don't win the championship, E-Dub. And I wanted to throw this out at you because Stephen A. Smith said, had LeBron, fulfilled his promise to Cleveland, there was an outside chance of him coming back to South Beach. Outside chance. And he stood by that comment. LeBron's obviously not going to fulfill that promise because they are going to go down. But do you see LeBron getting frustrated again, as he obviously is right now, and saying, you know what, the hell with this cursed place? I'm going somewhere else where I can win?
It could happen, but you know who I do see maybe a little bit more frustrated at first and saying, not to hell with this place, but to hell with you, who is making me spend all this money and going over the luxury tax. You already know who it is. You, with the way that you're trying to build a team and you're not the GM, you need to concentrate on coaching. You, with your, whatever you said or whatever you body language that may be going on inside that facility day in and day out, that made me get rid of a coach that I'm paying for now on top of everything else that I'm spending. Oh, it's Dan Gilbert. I think there's going to come a time, and sure, he's happy that LeBron is back, and hey, he was forgiven. He's been pretty much quiet out of the spotlight for much of this year. But as I read in a Brian Windhorst article a couple weeks ago about how LeBron is trying to make Cleveland Miami as far as professionalism, as far as guys getting somewhere on time, as far as the little things that he brought back there from
University of the Miami Heat.
Yeah. I just feel like Dan Gilbert will come to a time, and it may not be this year. I don't know what the heck is going on next year because, hey, as you sat there and said, LeBron can go to any team and help them to an NBA Finals or an Eastern Conference Final. Well, teams are getting bigger. Teams are getting better. Mm-hmm. And he's not getting younger. And where Kyrie is getting younger, or is still young, and maybe a little injury prone, but whatever. Freak accident last year, or whatever you want to call it. The people in the conference are getting better. It could be a bad conference altogether, but they still are teams that are getting better. Could it be a Toronto? Could it be a Miami Heat? Could it be I won't say Atlanta. Who else? Pretty much Toronto, Miami, maybe two or three other teams that could still come up. I see Dan Gilbert getting frustrated. I see Dan Gilbert making the business decision after a while that, let us handle this, LeBron. We're going to have to take away some of your power, take away some of the things that you've been doing here as far as building the team, and let us do that because we've tried it your way for 2 years, maybe 3 years, maybe 4, and it hasn't worked. Now let us do. Now, if you don't want to comply with that, Dan Gilbert won't look bad, and he didn't look bad the first time. But if LeBron leaves again versus Dan Gilbert kicking him out, what's he got to lose? What's Dan Gilbert? I mean, he probably lost some money during those 4 years that he was gone, and they got a hell of a lot of number 1 draft picks, out of the equation. But I see Dan Gilbert and the administration getting tired of it possibly before LeBron James.
The thing is, 2 years ago when LeBron bolted Miami, everybody around the country said they understood. Everybody around the country said, look, he's got a young nucleus in Cleveland, a young nucleus, and they're going to be winning championships for years to come. He's going to fulfill the promise. Nobody thought about those Western Conference teams that he would have to go out there and beat for those championships. He can win all the Eastern Conference titles he wants. How does he beat a team out of the West? They would not have even beaten the Oklahoma City Thunder. I don't think so. They might have been a closer series.
I would think it would have been a closer series.
But I don't think they would have beaten OKC either. Golden State is an exceptional team. They're just different. The NBA has changed. I don't know if you noticed from Game 4, Golden State made more 3-pointers than they made 2-pointers.
Yes, they did.
I mean, it's a ridiculous game right now. There was a fast break situation for Golden State. Klay Thompson, one man between him and the basket, pulls back out to shoot a 3-pointer, and that's a good shot for him. Anybody else in the NBA has to hit the bench, or they're going to get yanked out of the game. This game has changed. You know, there are no more Alonzo Mournings, no more Patrick Ewings, you know, no more David Robinsons and Tim Duncans roaming around the league. You got a bunch of guys that are 6'6" to 6'10" who can just pull up from 30. And that's what you got around the NBA right now. The game has changed. And I think LeBron's running out of time. I think you're right.
So Monday night, Cleveland in Golden State, Game 5 of the NBA Finals. I was about to say Western Conference Finals, but the NBA Finals. What's your prediction, final score, and who's your Finals MVP?
I think
if the game ends on Monday night.
I think Golden State wins, man. Golden State wins, in my opinion. It's going to be a rout. I see the Cavs just giving up after a certain point and losing maybe like 130 to 95. Getting just blown completely out of the gym, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
I like that. All right.
130-95. It's going to be a coronation for Golden State. Steph Curry's going to go bonkers, just draining threes from everywhere. He and Klay Thompson. And they're going to party in Golden State, man.
Yeah. I did see a tweet from a Cleveland fan or a Cleveland site where they were happy right after Draymond Green got suspended. They were happy.
Means nothing.
Yeah, win one and come back to the land. And I tweeted to them, well, if they did win it, I was like, man, you guys really love the sight of people celebrating in your own visitor locker room, don't you?
By the way, if your name of your town is, the nickname for your city is The Land, you're pretty lame. The Land.
It's Freeman and Fox, the Sports Bros here on SoFloRadio.com. South Florida talk, music, and sports. Make sure to follow us on Twitter at the Sports Bros, and of course, check out the website, thesportsbros.com.
We got to thank Jack, man, and this is the spot. We allowed us to come here, and we'll let him out of. You guys can let him go. Let him go.
He's been on camera, man. That your little game is crazy. Hey, this past week, switching gears a little bit, we saw the passing of a great icon, a legend. I won't say a legend because he was real, but a legendary athlete and boxer in Muhammad Ali. Did you get a chance to watch any or a lot of the memorial service that happened on Friday?
It was on probably 24 hours. I watched a lot of it. I thought it was very entertaining. I thought Billy Crystal was great.
He was. I actually saw his video portion this morning because I didn't see it on Friday.
He was just awesome. And the guy that did the, I guess the hosting or the, moderate, whatever you call it. Anyway, that guy, he was good. The guy that kind of pretty much ran the program. I don't know his name. I was thrown off a little bit by some of the Muslim prayers and stuff like that because I'm just not familiar with it. But overall, I thought it was a great service. I thought it was a great tribute to a great man. And I walked away with even more respect for Muhammad Ali when you look back at what he went through during those turbulent 60s and having a title stripped and how he stood up with Jim Brown and Bill Russell and those guys, and to overcome that and do what he did and become the guy that he became in this country, the same country where he couldn't eat at certain restaurants and sleep at certain hotels, and now he gets all of this love. I find it a bit, that he's kind of comes full circle somewhat, but it just shows, I guess, some of the things you can overcome in one lifetime.
Heard so many things, over this past week about Muhammad and about his life and times. And look, granted, my family, immigrated to this country, and you see everything that the African Americans had to go through this country. We're beneficiaries of, the fights and the marches and everything that Dr. King and Jesse Jacksons and the Sharptons and Muhammad Ali's had to go through and their families, so that we could come to this country and get the benefits of the freedoms that it does offer. And a couple of things that I took away from it was that this is a forgiving society. And I say forgiving, not that he went out there and killed anybody. Obviously, he didn't touch no children or do anything to any women or anything like that. But they thought it was a big deal that this guy at a time of war, and it really wasn't per se America's war at that time, but a time of war, this guy said, you know what, no, I'm standing up and I'm not going to go fight your war for somebody that didn't do anything to me or my people. I refuse to do that. With him obviously getting to be a Muslim, which wasn't obviously popular at that time with everything that's going around, that was going on at the time. And to see the transformation from what he did at that time to obviously being the people's champion, because he was the heavyweight champion of the world, to in his later years, and this is something it'll come to me in a second who said it, but they were saying how it was ironic that he didn't really become beloved until he lost his ability to speak. I don't know if you've ever heard that before, but just to come full circle and see the forgiveness of the society, and for people to somehow realize that, wow, what he stood for and what he stood up for at the time, for whether it was for black people, whether it was for Muslims or whoever, poor people, what he stood for at the time was the right thing. And I was in the wrong, whoever that may be, thinking I was in the wrong to not stand up and support him and not think that what his people and what he was going through back then was right. To see that turnaround, it was just amazing. And to hear all the stories, man. To hear all the stories and the things that we won't ever hear and weren't privy to, because of his 74 years of life, we didn't have the close proximity to be around him. To hear all that was just simply amazing.
It was, stories. And he became an icon. He became a world figure. This guy helped free hostages. He did things that a lot of people in this world could not do. I think the world paused to acknowledge Muhammad Ali on the night of his passing, and I think he's such a powerful figure. There's only a few guys you could mention in the same breath. I thought you did Jesse Jackson and Al Sharpton and those boys a little solid by even mentioning their names alongside the great Muhammad Ali. But I think there's only a couple of guys, Nelson Mandela, Martin Luther King, and a few other great humanitarians that you can mention with Muhammad Ali. He's certainly the latest one to leave us. And I think the world, not just America, but the world acknowledged this man and his greatness as he left us.
And some of the things that I did hear as well, people like to talk at this time. The guy was 74 years old. He hadn't boxed in 40 years, if that, maybe even longer, whatever. They wanted to ask about the question about the state of boxing and how it is. I mean, you don't need to have Muhammad Ali in that conversation because he was gone for so long. But what you can talk about is the state of the black athlete in America, and will there ever be anybody like him? Well, no. A, because the times have definitely changed as far as blacks being accepted into this society and et cetera. But B, he didn't care. And I say he didn't care, not just that he was just out there aimlessly shouting and yelling and telling people go to hell or whatever it was, but he didn't care. He lost everything because he wanted to stand for something.
That's why I respect him so much, because you think about this for a second. And if you haven't yet, Edub, I implore you to watch the O.J. Simpson documentary, because having seen the Ali service right after that and then the following day to watch the O.J. Simpson part 1 and to see the complete contrast in both guys, because Ali stood up to white America. He stood up to the establishment, and he said, you will not make me do what you want me to do, and you're treating me this way. He didn't go for the okie doke. And if he did, he would have been revered as he is now from back then. He would have been loved. That's one of the reasons Ali was despised And he didn't give a damn that you didn't like him. And he joined the Nation of Islam. He made fun of the white establishment to their faces. You know, he pointed out their idiocy for, you know, for the discrimination and the racism and all of that. He stood up to that. One black guy. And then he got Bill Russell and Jim Brown and a few other guys, you know, to align themselves with him. And the reason I brought up OJ, E-Dub, OJ was the exact opposite. OJ went to USC. OJ was a dominant superstar running back in the NCAA in the late 60s. At the same time, and when OJ was asked about the civil rights movement, the war, and any of that stuff, granted he was a young man at the time, but he was like, yeah, you know, like, hey, they ain't really got nothing to do with me. I'm not really privy to all the information. All of that straight talk to stay right down the middle. And what I learned from that was that OJ was concerned with being OJ. He wasn't concerned about anybody in Compton, in Liberty City, or any part of urban America. He was happily being loved on by white America, and he was cool with it. He could give a damn about black folks until he got in trouble. That's when he said, hey, I'm black. But Ali's been black since day one until the day he died. And he's been consistent, and he's been, you know, you guys aren't going to control me. I'm a free man. You're going to respect me. And I'm going to do what I believe is right, whether you like it or not. And they took his money, his titles, everything. They stripped him, and he would not bow. That's the difference between the great Muhammad Ali and a lot of other guys during that time.
Because now,
even today's guys,
they've got a lot more to lose,
mm-hmm.
and they don't want. I definitely haven't met, and I haven't heard an athlete come out vehemently against anything that has happened. You know, all of these, you know, Ferguson's,
Baltimore,
and Trayvon Martin's, and all that stuff. I haven't heard any of them come out so vehemently against it because, I think a lot of it has to do with what they could lose. What they could lose, what's on the line. You're talking about endorsements. You're talking about fines from teams and suspensions. It's almost as if freedom of speech, and I'm always a person to say this, freedom of speech doesn't, preclude you from freedom of consequence when you're saying something negative. Like, I'm waiting right now. We've got a big disaster, right, happening in domestic terrorism, the biggest case of it ever in U.S. history, with 50 people being shot dead in Orlando at a nightclub. I'm watching the wires and watching the social media to see who's going to be that political person, that athlete, that mayor, that celebrity, whoever, to say something negative about the people that were shot there because it was a LGBT nightclub, and that person, you know, loses their job or whatever they have. I know it's going to happen because it always does. But yeah, the athletes of today. And again, you have to say it's a different time. When you speak out against, you know, George Zimmerman and what happened there, when you speak out against what happened in Cleveland with Tamir Rice, when you speak out against what happened in Baltimore, you have to be careful. You have to choose your words wisely. Ray Lewis, he just came to mind. He probably seems like, and that wasn't really a speaking out. It was more so, people, we need to reset and think about what we need to do for ourselves. Don't riot. It wasn't a, you know, cops this, law that, et cetera, needs to change. They've got too much to lose nowadays. And I'm wondering who and where is that athlete when the time's appropriate. And if it does warrant this for you to come out and speak in absolutism about a topic. Maybe it may not.
I don't think we're going to see that. I think Muhammad Ali was such an exceptional man that, you mentioned all of these guys today have to lose. People always talk about Michael Jordan. They always throw shade at Michael Jordan because he never stands for anything. He just wants to sell sneakers. Didn't he famously say Republicans buy sneakers too? You know? So you don't have the same amount or level of respect for those guys or any of these athletes today that you would have for Muhammad Ali. Because, again, look at the time that Ali lived in. Look at his time. He was a black man. He was the heavyweight champion of the world, but he was a black man in America, in a racist society. That was considered almost like high treason to say, I'm not going to go fight your war because no Viet Cong ever called me nigger. That's basically what he said. And I'm not doing it. And you can't make me do it. You can do whatever you want to do to me. Let one of these guys today stand out and say, you can do whatever. You can take away my Nike deal. You can take away my, all my automobile deals or whatever deals you got. You can suspend me from the league for 2 years. I wouldn't give a damn. Who's going to do that today? Nobody. Muhammad Ali was one of a kind. We were blessed to be, to have this guy live in the time that he did and to have him be a part of all of us.
Yeah, he will be missed. Muhammad Ali dead at the age of 74. He will rest in peace. Sports Brothers here, Freeman and Fox. Check us out online at The Sports Bros. That is our Twitter. Obviously at the website as well, thesportsbros.com. We are here. We're not going anywhere. We've got some things on the horizon coming up. So make sure you follow us on our social media and you will definitely find out what's going on with the Sports Bros. It's been fun, man, right here at SoFloRadio.com. South Florida talk, music, and sports. We may be back. Hopefully, we may be back, and maybe in a more permanent role too. We definitely had a good time here, and we'd like to thank once again Jack Frost, as you call him, for engineering the program today. So be on the lookout for us. Make sure you follow us once again on our social media at The Sports Bros, and of course visit the website thesportsbros.com.
Peace.